Welcome back to another trip that ends in Iceland. You might be saying to yourself, Taylor, you've already been to Iceland 3 times this year, and you'd be wrong. I've been there 6. But this time, it's the Fuji X100VI. Welcome to the Poetry Slam. I'm Taylor Jackson, and I'm holding a bag of Taco Bell because I believe there to be some parallels between the current Fujifilm ecosystem and Taco Bell. Same ingredients, combined many different ways. This one's wrapped in a hard shell and also a soft shell. Whole new item. But the Fujifilm X100VI, I'm going to compare it to the Crunchwrap Supreme. It's got all the ingredients. It's got everything you need. There's a bit of hype around it. It's a passionate user base. It's your first time here. I'm Taylor Jackson. I photographed over 1,000 weddings all around the world, and I've made about 500 highlight films as well, doing hybrid photo video coverage at most events, whether it's here on YouTube like we're gonna do in this video, or it's at a wedding day that gets published in People magazine. The big magazines always pick the most boring possible photos. It's great. And about 10 years ago, I decided to take the winters off and travel instead, make YouTube videos here. Sometimes they involve wedding photography, sometimes they do not. Usually they don't involve Taco Bell. And I'm not saying Fujifilm is going to give you food poisoning. There's just a lot of combinations of basically the same thing, and I don't know what anything is called anymore. So here it is, the Fujifilm X100VI, crazy powerful jacket pocket-sized camera. Physical dials up here, I don't really use them, but it's a nice idea. And I was invited to the launch of this camera, which is really exciting. A lot of hype, a lot of people upset, a lot of people happy. Which one is it? Are you happy or are you sad? I would say that overall, maybe this graph is a nice representation of where things are at, that the initial hype has died down a bit. My wife and I both found our way into owning the limited edition of this. It's an individually numbered unit. It's the exact same as the retail ones. It just looks a little fancier. There's different engravings, and it comes with different accessories that you can lose, like lens caps and shutter buttons. It didn't come with this hat though. This hat, found in an attic of BJ Photo, my local camera shop, Waterloo, Ontario, Canada. They have no more of them. Comes from 1993, we believe. The Fuji X100VI is an APS-C crop camera that comes in at 40 megapixels. On here, a fixed 23 millimeter f2 lens, which is the full frame equivalent of 35 millimeters. On the front here, I have a quarter mist filter that screws on. This is also what makes the camera, so out of the box, the camera does not come weather sealed. When you add a filter, it becomes more weather sealed. You already know this camera is great for photography, and that's probably most of what it's been hyped up to be. For me, I actually use it a lot for video, and I find it a very underrated video camera, especially on a trip like this. There is a built-in ND filter, which is amazing. So you're able to actually get the proper shutter speeds without having any sort of screw-on ND filter on top. And by correct shutter speeds, I mean the shutter speed of double your frame rate. And I'm also using this camera 4K 30, so I'm not doing anything too crazy. But overall, I am just blown away by the footage. I shoot everything with classic negative film simulation, and every video clip you're gonna see in this video is straight out of camera. So I'm not adjusting any exposures, or my white balances are gonna be a little bit sloppier than usual. I'm not using any sort of color correction. I'm just showing you the straight out of camera videos, and I find them to be incredible. I also lock the white balance most of the time to cloudy mode, so just a little bit maybe warmer than it would choose naturally. And I'm also in full manual controls on this camera. Other things I do, I change this back button, the autofocus lock button. That activates my ND filter, so it turns it off and on in both photography and video. I find myself not really ever using it in photography mode, but in video mode, I use it pretty much as soon as it gets any sort of ambient sunlight out. I am using that ND filter. My front wheel, I have this set to f-stop and ISO. So you hit it one time, and then you go from f-stop to ISO. So you're controlling both. You can also physically control your f-stop on the front here. This physical ring, which is really nice. Again, I don't really use it. I set it to the mode where I just control it from this front wheel. Other things that are challenging or suck about this camera, for me at least, for doing video, it comes with a 2.5 millimeter mic jack, so not a standard one, not one that you can plug any of your cables into. You need an adapter for it. Overall, the autofocus and the performance of the camera, if you are looking at a newer mirrorless camera, it's going to be a lot slower in terms of autofocus. For the mist filter that I have on the front here, I use it anytime that I'm out in the day, and then at nighttime I take the mist filter off, and I just like that look a lot better. I mentioned that all the video clips are going to be straight out of camera, but the photos are actually edited through Imagen. So they're who I use for all of my weddings. It's basically pattern recognition editing. So it sees what you did in the past and it applies that to a new image that comes in. If that does sound interesting to you, there's a link down below to 1,500 free edits to get started with it. And if you decide to become an Imagen user, you will actually get my full editing profile completely for free. $250 usually on its own, but it will get mailed to you and it goes out manually. Somebody actually does it. So the end of each month, you'll get that in your mailbox. We're gonna talk more about Imagen a little bit later in this video, but all the images you're seeing edited by Imagen, all the video clips straight out of camera. Although Imagen also does video color correction. I'm also bringing what might be considered the Fujifilm X100VI competitor these days, or at least in price, they've become eerily similar. This is the Ricoh GR4. My immediate thoughts for this is if you're interested in doing video, this is the winner right here, the X100VI. But if you're interested in using either of these cameras for photography only and video is not a concern, there's more of a conversation there. We'll have it throughout the video. New gear alert. DJI Nano, Osmo Nano. The wireless mic, it works most of the time, but it still does have some synchronization issues. And you might be like, what's a sync issue? And here it is. All right, the Osmo Nano. Small travel camera. Very easy to bring with you. It has a screen if you want it, or just the physical camera itself, and also the mic mini here as well, which is really, really nice. So this just connects wirelessly to it. There's no additional adapter or anything you need. So yeah, let's see what this looks like over the rest of the trip. But also the X100VI, which is the reason you're probably here. I feel very uncomfortable holding this microphone like this. I'm also hiding the charger. And then I did what I do on every flight. Ate a full bag of Sour Patch Kids and felt really sick. Oh, and then we got the Northern Lights already. Okay, that comes later. So we're actually not on the way to Paris yet. Well, we are, but I'm connecting to Amsterdam to see a band called Sigur Ros. They are an Icelandic band. So in my infinite wisdom of YouTuber and making a bookended video, the video is going to begin at a Sigur Ros concert, and then we will end in Iceland. Advanced YouTubing going on here. Charles de Gaulle Airport is labeled by many travelers as the worst international airport, up there with Manila, Gatwick, LAX. I like it. Its layout is fragmented, confusing, and really bad. Everything about this airport logistically is not good, but the design is absolutely mental. And we're going to be coming to this airport 2 more times on this trip. So get ready for that airport B-roll. Look at this. What a crazy layout. Why are the bathrooms downstairs? Why is everything delayed? I actually have a reoccurring dream that I'm at this airport and my flight keeps getting pushed 15 minutes until it's midnight and I have to go find a hotel. And then I wake up at 6 a.m. and I do it all again the next day. Coincidentally, that flight and that dream is from Charles de Gaulle to Amsterdam. Have I inceptioned my way to this moment? Or did it inspire this adventure? It certainly did not inspire this. And a lot of this footage is obviously from the X100VI, but there's also some iPhone footage hidden in there. Hopefully you can see the difference. This is the X100VI footage with the classic negative film simulation. You can see that it's a little washed out and the colors are a little bit different. And now for comparison, the DJI Nano. We have arrived in Amsterdam. DJI Nano, the audio that's casting a blue LED. I gotta turn that LED off. This is a marble washroom. It's impressive, but what's more impressive is the outdoors. It's raining, but I do get to have a view of a pretty cool couple of buildings over here. There's Max Verstappen out there. I don't see him yet. They also have my favorite water, which is Aqua Panna, but specifically the one that's in glass. It's by far the best. I also brought a travel tripod, but not the type that you'd expect. I was looking at the tripods that I had available at my house, and I basically just didn't want to bring another heavy tripod because I don't really need it on this trip. So the tripod I brought with me is actually a selfie stick for your phone. Comes with an attachment for your phone, but you can take it off and it becomes a tripod, and it's this small and it weighs nothing. And for the Fujifilm X100VI, I think it's totally fine. You don't need a big tripod for that camera because it doesn't really weigh a whole lot. Oh. The Buddha lounge boat? That looks interesting. And I will now demonstrate the tripod to you. There it is. I'll put a link down below to this. Lindsay got one just for self-filming phone content. If you're not gonna be using it all the time, something like this might be an easier travel companion for your life. Not sponsored, just the thing I use. And one of the other superpowers of the X100VI is that you can just bring it places that you normally couldn't bring a larger camera. If you're going to a sporting event, obviously check the rules of whatever venue you're going to, but for the most part, you're probably gonna be able to bring the X100VI because it's not a detachable lens and the zoom isn't over 100 millimeters, so you're probably gonna be fine bringing it places, which is really, really nice. And this is how I charge this. I just plug it in like that. I don't have a charger, just USB-C it. Now something that's very nice about the X100VI is that it actually fits into a jacket pocket. It does not fit into a pant pocket. It could, but you shouldn't. Jacket pocket, I feel like it's acceptable, so this camera is actually pocketable a couple of months out of the year, depending on where you live. 5000 ISO looks pretty nice, I think. This is a crazy hotel. I don't like big cities, and I really, really like Amsterdam. I don't know if it's the combination of trains and boats and bikes and a residual anxiety of always being hit by one of the, at least two out of the three. Probably not going to get hit by a boat unless you're swimming, but the other two are always a threat, so you got to stay on your toes. Other big cities I like, Tokyo, anywhere in Japan. That's it. That's my big city list. Anything in Japan and Amsterdam. Every other big city can go to hell. I'm kidding. I'm sure they all have redeeming factors and qualities. Just like that abusive relationship that you spent too long in. We're getting dark on the channel today, and it's getting dark outside. What a transition. I told you we were professionals here. Sigur Ros, one of my favorite bands of all time. Been fortunate enough to see them a fair number of times in Reykjavik. Loudest show I've ever heard in my entire life. This show, super cool theater, and they're playing their Sleepy Time albums, so not as loud as Reykjavik, thankfully. And even though this was no problem to bring the camera in, there was a no photo and video policy. I think mostly just to keep a nice atmosphere for the guests so people didn't have their phones up. So I didn't take any photos or videos of the actual performance. But there was a full orchestra of 75 people and 20 choir boys on the stage. It sounds weird, but it was great. And then the next morning I tried to make a film simulation that kind of matches classic neg. This is off my Nikon Z6 III, and it is the toy creative look modified a little bit. And I think it's pretty close, but it's for sure not the real thing. Here's the real thing from the X100VI. And now back to the Z6 III. I also got this suction cup attachment for the DJI Nano. It works pretty great most of the time, but sometimes your camera falls off whatever you put it on. On the train, I also made a new playlist called Free Continental Breakfast. I'll put a link down below to it if you want to listen to it. I don't know if it's geared for the opposite of this channel. Picture the demographic of who watches this channel, and then flip it completely. We've made it to Paris. Unfortunately, there's no pad of paper in the room for me to do day 2 Paris. So here it is on the screen. Hope that was great. Staying near the Eiffel Tower, and the only thing this hotel really has going for it is its view of the Eiffel Tower. I think the better shot is still street level in between the buildings pointing up at it. You can also go up to the top with everyone else taking pictures, but I don't know. I like the street level shot from down here. So my friend Aga from PicTime gave me a few options for places to eat. And one of them is a touristy one, but Picasso and Hemingway and those folk used to hang out there. So I'm gonna hop in a taxi. I'm gonna head over to Latin Quarter, and then we're gonna come back here for Blue Hour and get that nice sunset light on the Eiffel Tower. Let's get on our way, and we're gonna see if Hemingway is still hanging out there. I hope so. Love to meet him. right, slight complication with the sunset tonight. So the sunset is at 7:19 p.m. and the sparkly lights don't start until 8. They go every hour for 5 minutes. Unfortunately, it's going to be completely dark by then. Blue hour wraps up around 7:30, 7:35. Hopefully there's still some blue in the sky because I feel like that's the perfect shot. But for now, I actually don't know. So the sparkle lighting show is for sure copyright, so I can't technically use that commercially, and posting it here on YouTube would technically be commercial. But I don't know about the regular lighting. We'll just believe that it's not. So blue hour, nice contrast with the kind of orangey lights. I'm happy that they haven't gone full just white LED. That would be sad. They are still a little bit orange, and it really pops over blue hour. So I'm going to do a few photos from up here, and then I'm going to go down to the spot that I was at earlier, and I've never been down there for blue hour, so I have no idea. Maybe it is not good at all. Maybe it's great. We'll find out soon. Now, for hybrid photo video coverage, which I've been doing on this trip, more so video than photography, which is a little surprising, I guess. The struggle of hybrid to go in between, you have to hit the drive delete button, which sounds not good. It sounds like you're purging an SSD. So you hit the drive delete button, it doesn't delete anything. It pops up this menu and it says movie, and then you have to hit down, and then it goes to stills. The buffer, when you're doing a lot of raw photos, is really slow to switch to video, so it won't actually let you switch to video for a little bit until it writes all those files to the card. So if you are trying to do really fast photography of a scene and switch to video, this might not be the camera for you. There it is for the evening photography here in Paris. It's an early night tonight because tomorrow have to wake up, have to get to the workshop, 6:15 a.m. flight, which means 4 a.m. wake up. Not looking forward to it, but at least it's exciting. I wake up at a new place and I get to go to a new place and see fair. Get to do some wedding shoots. It's exciting. But I'm doing the smart thing. I'm going to bed now rather than wandering the streets of Paris with an expensive camera. So good night from Paris. And I will see you again tomorrow on our way to a place that I've never been before in France.
Veuillez retirer vos écouteurs. Merci de respecter l'ensemble des consignes écrites et lumineuses, ainsi que stowing a table, the cup holder, and les ceintures s'attachent.
Quite a console here.
We've arrived in Toulouse, which is the reason for this trip, actually. I know we've done a lot so far. Those are just the days on the way here. And now we actually get to do the thing that I was booked here to come and do, which is a workshop in a castle that looks amazing. It's my friend Fair. Fair is incredible. I'm gonna make at least one full video about him on the channel from this. I just like to follow him around and see how he works. He is a lot different than I am as a photographer. I would say he's a lot more artistic. And in an environment like this, I am very excited to see what he creates, because we're not on wedding days. We're kind of always at the mercy of time, that we have 20 minutes to get an entire shoot done with a couple. Now we have lots of time. that the reason for doing this thing is the shoot, not for the couple to get married. So that is very exciting, and I'm excited to see what we get up to over the next 2 days. I will say that the X100VI is potentially not the camera of choice for making YouTube content. I am going with the Nikon Z6 III, and I'm going to have my DJI Mic 2 kit. I like the Mic 2s because I lav, so that Fair can wear a lav while I chase him around, and it's a little bit nicer with the Mic 3s. I think it's more similar to this Mini here, where you kind of have to use it like this, or you have an adapter to connect to lav, which isn't the most ideal, but it is nice to have variations of product and have options for different things that you might be doing. For this trip, this is great. Well, for this part of the trip. Found my hotel. It was a bit of a struggle, and it's incredible. I'm the only guest here. It's a man's house. His name is Ivan. He's very nice. Just me and him. I'm on the upstairs and he's somewhere downstairs, and it's great. Show you the ridiculousness of this. It's crazy. Absolutely crazy. This is the DJI Nano with no microphone plugged in, and also me walking downstairs. Cool, I found my car. It's good. Well, this place is incredible. Also very inexpensive for how nice it is. Just a little bit out of the way for most folks that probably visit Paris for the first time. Incredible though. X100VI. Everything's a photo here. It's really easy. Maybe not at this time of day. Soon though. Check out my Dale Earnhardt Racing 5. Should be a 3, but it's fine.
Hey, Mr. Sigur Ros.
Hello.
How are you doing, man? All good?
Good to see you.
Likewise, man.
It's been so long.
Yeah, no, not that long.
So natural, just having a conversation.
It was a game.
We're able to park the car.
So I feel energized. Okay. Yeah, so as a creator, we become, at the beginning we were kids. We're like, let's play the same thing. And then we are rebels. I'll tell you who she is. Like, it's an assistant photographer. Yeah. 2,8. Show them. Look at her picture, guys.
Yes.
It's really beautiful.
Paparazzi. All the photographers are there.
Well, we certainly don't need the mist filter this morning on the X100VI. I'm a little sad I wasn't out here early enough to get the lights on around the city, but it still feels very cinematic. 98%. Lights would have added the extra 2. So I have been shooting everything with a classic negative film simulation baked into all the video footage, and I like that a lot because I don't have to do any color correction. It's just put it on a timeline and it's ready to go. For travel and content like this, it makes the workflow a lot easier. I just shoot everything exactly as I want it in here, rather than shooting something more neutral and then grading back to the same profile. Get it right in camera, folks. Save yourself some time, unless you enjoy color correction, in which case, do you. I'm a big fan of these old castle towns that are usually really tourist heavy. This one, it's not, even during the day. There are only a few people wandering around. Enough restaurants so you're not gonna starve. Probably bring what you need if you do want some snacks and you're staying here. But otherwise, find some weird stuff on a map and go there sometimes. This has really exceeded all expectations. Today on the menu at the workshop, David Bowie inspired shoot. Christina really went above and beyond. There are as many vendors involved as there are photographers. So Christina basically set it up to be the workshop that she wanted to do, and then invited other people to come if they want, and they can stay at the castle as a group. Too much stuff in my back pockets for a walkaway shot until I get to about this point. It's crazy. When faced with 2 impossibly cinematic pathways, always choose the one to the right. And if you're sick of beautiful, serene, hilltop castle village vibes with no people, you're wrong, because it's still great. We are now going to move on to the Rhapsody workshop, where things get a little more exciting than me just being alone out here. Good morning. Good, how about you? All right, let's talk about Imagen for a moment here. So Imagen, spelled Imagen, is who I use for all of my wedding galleries. It helps me maintain consistency from the start of the day to the end of the day.
And not only that, it allows me to process an entire wedding in less than an hour, which is amazing. So that is refining all my selections, final gallery exported within an hour. It really, really speeds up my post-production. For a trip like this, it's also really helpful because I've now edited with all my wedding images, and wedding images are, I don't know, you're kind of shooting every single genre of photography throughout a day. So to put it into this wedding workshop as well as travel content, it just does an incredible job. If you are interested in getting started, 1,500 free edits in the link below. And then if you do sign up, you get my editing profile, which is basically like a preset, but it's a trained preset. You get all the edits that I would usually do, just all in that profile. So if you do become an Imagen user, you will get that. And it is mailed out manually at the end of every month. So if you do sign up, you will get that. It just might take a little bit of time, but I do recommend giving them a shot because they're amazing. 1,500 free edits, get started, see how it works for you, but it really will speed your editing workflow up substantially.
I don't know, we put me here.
Yeah. Teeth. I want to see teeth. Yes.
Then I figure it's time to show a few photos again. Here they come. Accidental Renaissance. Now culminate to the top of this trip where I play Gran Turismo 7 demo in French at an airport. The DJI Nano Suction Cup falls once again, and the car that I select is actually Marshall. You've seen him on the channel before. I picked Marshall's car to race in a video game, which is kind of cool. After waking up in what appeared to be a prison, I was on my way again to Paris and again to my favorite airport in the world, Charles de Gaulle. Look at how happy I am to experience the inconvenience of this concrete abyss. I guess it's kind of like a skate park. I like skate parks. Maybe that's why I like this airport. And I haven't even shown you my favorite part of this airport yet. I'm so excited for you to get to experience it. If you have been there, I'm sure you remember these tubes. They are moving walkways that are on like a 20-degree angle, really difficult to walk up. And depending on which gate you're going, you get in a different tube. And you get transported to the future. Or in my case, I get transported to a place where I have to go down an elevator, and then I have to go on this additional moving sidewalk that is the longest one I've ever seen. I'm going to say it's 1 kilometer long. You begin at the bottom, you rise to the top, you go down the hill, you do about 500 meters in the flats, and then back up you go to a completely empty piece of the terminal. There's 10 gates here, nothing is open. I love it here. What a weird place in the world. I'm on my way to Iceland, which is another weird place in the world. Place I've been many, many times, and I'm probably gonna keep going back, even though my passport's full of Iceland stamps on the way out, and they question me intensely now. What do you do here? The answer is, I just drive around, and tomorrow Lindsay comes. We get to hang out, so that's nice. I also rented this new Toyota Land Cruiser, and I hated it. All right, I've now switched to the vlog camera of the iPhone 17 Pro.
This is a bad lighting setup to begin this in. I can't make it any better. This is what it is. That's marginally better, but not great. And I love the DJI Nano, but the issue is that it's another camera, and I'm also shooting the X100VI, so I have 3 cameras kind of on the go, because I was still shooting my iPhone for some social media things and just pick up shots whenever I didn't want to dig through my bag. So that's maybe something to consider. I still might use the Nano if there's a reason for it, but this is what the iPhone 17 Pro looks like in terrible lighting conditions. Also, we're back in Iceland. My flighty lifetime passport says this is my 67th time here. I don't know if that's accurate. I feel like it's maybe wrong a little bit. And something exciting. I think it's important to make goals for yourself sometimes. And today I am staying at, so the first time I ever came to Iceland, I went to the famous hot dog stand that's in the center of Reykjavik, and I saw a hotel, and I was like, one day I will stay at that hotel. And it's not expensive or anything, so it really wasn't like a crazy goal, just a regular hotel. And today on the flight in, that's what I booked. So I am headed to the hot dog hotel. It's not what it's called, but it is the closest hotel in proximity, I think, to the hot dog stand. So let's go there. And then it's Friday night in Reykjavik in the rain, which means I think it's gonna be cinematic. And there it is, the hotel. Famous hot dog shop right there. Hotel. Here we are in the hotel room. This could have happened at the shoot we were at, the workshop that I just left. That would have been fun. Next time. I do have to go out and get food because it is 9 o'clock right now, and pretty much every kitchen in the city, with the exception of that hot dog stand, closes at like 9:30 or 10 o'clock. So it's very, very challenging to find food after that. So I'm gonna go do that, and then the cinematic experience will begin. Okay, I got hot dog first. And now we run into another negative of the X100VI, and it is the fact that it needs a filter, the screw-on filter that I'm using, the mist filter, to be completely weather sealed. So if it is raining, you're gonna want a front filter on that. But I don't want one at night because it's already a little misty, and lighting with a less good quality of piece of glass, like the lens on this camera is amazing, and when you put a filter on top of it, it's just gonna pick lights up in a bit of a weird way. It works sometimes, but a lot of time I don't like it. It feels more like a full 1-to-1 mist filter rather than a subtle effect. But I basically have to screw it off and on while I'm walking around today. Just a little unfortunate. That was a weird music choice. Sorry about that. All right, so it's been less than 12 hours since I made the decision to switch to iPhone. And I was yearning for the DJI Nano. Children yearn for the Nano. Now I'm gonna do some morning video creation. And we do in fact have the mist filter back on because it's daytime, and the ridiculous blooms aren't going to appear. If they do appear, that's maybe fine. ever seen a trunk before? Also, pay your parking here, because if you just leave, because there's no gate, they'll charge you €50 to your rental company. All right, let's exit the parking garage, and I'll tell you a story about Iceland with the Osmo Nano, my squealing brakes. And now we're headed to Grindavik, which is, I think, the first city when you land at the airport. Grindavik is maybe 20 minutes from the airport. I'm sure you've been seeing the volcanoes that have been popping off here and fissures and cracks in the earth that are creating new lava fields, which look wonderful and really cool. The downside is they're happening very, very, very close to Grindavik. So there were a number of evacuations, and then eventually the Icelandic government was like, this is not a place we should put people long term. So they were offering money to buy you out of living there, to give you money to move to whatever other city in Iceland that you were interested in. And that would be crazy if you've lived your entire life in a city and now all of a sudden you have to move because of nature. I guess it was always a concern. That particular volcano system, I believe, was dormant for maybe ever that people have been on Iceland. So it was never really a potential problem, and then all of a sudden it became a huge problem. So the government trying to get people out of there, some people say no. There's a hotel open again there, and a few people living in the city, but for the most part, it's completely abandoned. So from a photography standpoint and from a photographing something important standpoint that might not exist in 1 year, maybe less, maybe more, maybe it's fine forever, but it does inspire me to go and capture what's going on there. I feel like it's also just, I don't know, from a simplification of art and photography to photograph an abandoned town that is weirdly pristine because no one's going in and graffitiing it. I think that it just makes aesthetically some really nice looking images. So from that standpoint, I will take some photos, and I'm happy that it's a little overcast today because the other time, I know it's weird to complain about it being sunny. Sorry, my wipers are making weird noises. I know it's weird to complain about things being sunny, but it's not really Iceland when it's sunny. So it's nice and great to live it, but I feel like there's no drama. I come for the drama, and I guess I also come for the randomness of nature here, that you never know what you're gonna get. You never get the same thing twice, and that's also why you can go back to the same places over and over again, because it's gonna be completely different. Maybe this trip we get northern lights. Maybe this trip we get absolutely no northern lights, and we have crazy high solar activity, which gets you hyped up all day, that you're looking at your aurora forecast and you're like, wow, we got like eight all day, and then unfortunately you get nothing, and that happens a lot here. So it is like gambling. So maybe that's why people are addicted to coming here.
So we're now entering what is a new road. That obviously this was completely covered in lava just a few months ago. And they've rebuilt the road out of, I think, lava that just melted back into a road and drive again. You can see the old road off to the right there, partially covered in lava. And now they have built this large berm around the Blue Lagoon area, as well as a few to protect the city of Grindavik. And honestly, it's crazy coming out here. We've been coming out here for years, and now every trip, even if they're 8 weeks apart, things are completely different. All right, the horizontal rain has become a little too intense for a walk around Grindavik. Good thing I have a mobile tent on wheels. Thanks, Toyota. The Japanese think of everything. Look at how close this lava is to the back of a subdivision. They've just fenced it off. house. Backyard full of lava. All of these buildings just completely empty. Everything gone. Here we are at the Blue Lagoon, or as the Icelandic call it, the Lagoon. I don't think they call it that. There it is. It is a pretty unique view. It's my 20th time staying here, so they gave me a card and some free strawberries. What's up? Meh, 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 meh. The main lagoon at Blue Lagoon is crazy. Probably, I don't recommend it, to be honest.
Slap them up. Swans on TV dinner.
The next morning, it was really nice. I was on my way to the airport to pick Lindsay up and to come back to the hotel for a swim in the morning, which is really nice. And you can see how fresh this lava field is because there's still heat trapped in there. And when it gets cold out, it is a little misty still. So the plan is that Lindsay is here for a few days, and 2 days time from now, we are going to Magic's workshop. And Magic is a man you might know from YouTube. If you don't follow his channel, consider subscribing. He's a nice guy. Also, I'll put a link down below. I think there's a mailing list for his future workshops like this, and it's a really, really fun experience. And Magic really knows his way around Iceland and knows the good spots. Lindsay also has an X100VI, and for vacation camera, I would say that this is her go-to. Professionally, Nikon Z6 III and Z8, but for something small that can just fit in your bag and go with you out in the world without really feeling like you're bringing a camera, this is the one.
All right, lobster soup.
The soup's become a bit of a meme here because it's basically $30 to buy a soup. You get a free refill, so you get 2 soups, and it's amazing at this place. There's a lot of quote-unquote famous Iceland soup places that are not very good. That place in Grindavik down by the harbor is really, really good. Now, we're off to our cabin, just a little bit north of Selfoss.
Just checked into our Airbnb. That's what it looks like. Now you're in the video.
If you're interested in coming to one of Magic's future workshops, I'll put a link in the description to some more information. The mailing list sign up, he'll let you know when he's running another one. My take on the Ricoh GR4 that these photos are from and the section of the videos from, it's hard. So the camera itself is definitely faster to respond and the autofocus is a little bit better than the GR3, but I wouldn't say it's a substantial enough upgrade to necessitate the bonus money. So I would say go used GR3 if you are interested in one of these cameras, because it's going to get you pretty much everything that's in the GR4. When the GR4 HDF comes out, which has a diffusion filter built in, I'm interested. They've announced development of a monochrome as well, so that is also interesting. One thing that I have no idea why Fuji doesn't do is special versions of the X100VI. I would love to see a monochrome version. You get higher ISO performance, and if you're into black and white photography, you just get more control over the files when it is a monochrome sensor. And the X100VI sells incredibly well, and instead Fuji's putting out a bunch of really confusing camera releases that's clouding their lineup when they have a standout success in the X100VI. So that's my take, I guess. I also hit this wicked trick shot. Look at that. Didn't hit the TV. Dropped straight down on the bullseye. Wild. Didn't get on video. So hope you believe me. Thanks for joining me on this extensive tour with the Fujifilm X100VI. I hope that you've enjoyed. Again, 1,500 free edits with Imagen down below if you're interested. If you have any questions about the camera, put them down below. And if you do want to watch another video of the same style, you can watch this one right here. It's also a very fun time. See you over there.